Yo, buddy.
Well, good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
Absolutely. Been loving seeing your progress over the past year or so.
Oh, yeah, you've been keeping an eye out. I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Now, all I'm really trying to do right now is match the levels, and they look pretty good.
Well, I was going to try and see if I had a set of headphones. I didn't know if that might help.
Yeah, you've got time.
Hold on 1 second. I just want to see. Might not be doable. We're good to go, man. Fuck it. If everything's all right, then I'll just talk to you like this.
Sure. And this isn't the last time that we'll talk either, so, no stress. And that's what I really like about this audio format is I'm a perfectionist, right? So no matter what I do, I'm always trying to max it out. But now due to the virus, I really can't do in-person interviews. So I started thinking, and I'm like, well, maybe if I just start reaching out, I had recorded a phone-based interview before, and the quality isn't the greatest, but it's better to produce content than no content at all. And
100%.
So yeah, man. So, and I know we've spoken briefly, but if you could please introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, where you're at.
Hell yeah. Well, number one, thanks Tony for the opportunity. Yeah, my name is MikeSB, man. SB stands for soon to be. I don't want Nike suing me. Soon to be the man that I dream to be. A 24-year-old musician out of South Florida, Fort Lauderdale to be specific. I just make chill, conscious, catchy music for the people out there who need something to lift them up, And I'm an independent artist, just doing it because I'm passionate about it, man.
Absolutely, and I definitely picked up on that very early when I started listening to your music, and it's just a feel-good, positive, it's an entire vibe. So where would you say that you got inspired to make music like that? Was it the situation that you were in, friends and family, a specific artist? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it's funny. Well, I have an older brother, so I'm 24. My brother's always been 13 years apart from me. So he's now 37. I'm turning 25. He'll be turning 38. So back in the day, I'll preface all this, my dad was in bands growing up, played the lead guitar in a bunch of bands up in Boston and shit. He's from New Brunswick, Canada. So he was playing in bands since he was 12, 13, 14 years old. But, fast forward to when I was 13, I had a Walkman. I got a Walkman. I remember getting it from Walmart, and I was and my brother had these big CD books, so I was flipping through my brother's discs, and that's when I laid my eyes on, 50 Cent, Give Rich or Die Trying, Eminem, The Eminem Show, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Nas, and then metal stuff, a lot of Metallica, some of the Down stuff. But I was first exposed to all this music from CDs, and I would just wear my Walkman and listen to music, and I learned how to just learn all the lyrics to my favorite songs. So all my friends knew me as a kid who knew the words to these songs after one or two listens. So I always had the knack for the rhymes and stuff. I was into it. Never really into the singing stuff though. But artists, I watched the come up of artists like Mac Miller, Wiz Khalifa, Big Sean around the 2011, 2012, 2013 era, those times. And that's when I was 16, 17 years old, writing my first raps and, really grinding it out and going to the studio. And those guys motivated the heck out of me. But for the sound that I'm at now with the singing and stuff, I listen to a lot of Incubus and Revolution and, Bob Marley and, a lot of stuff like that I started singing along with. And eventually I got comfortable with my voice. And once the fans were like, yo, you sound good, I was like, all right, well, then I'm just not going to care what I put out anymore. And I'm just going to try and put me out there. And that's what I've been trying to do lately. And the reception's been amazing. Once you stop giving a fuck. And,
yeah, absolutely. And I think you in yourself are your own vibe. And I think not a lot of artists get that opportunity to truly be themselves, and I think you definitely have your own lane, and it's a very dope one and a very happy type of vibe. And so as you were writing those rhymes, and who did you start working with before and up to now? Like, talk a little bit about, the people around you, different producers or videographers or managers or agents, like, who has helped you get to the place that you're at?
So something that's funny that I just want to touch on, you reminded me, when I was starting writing, we were heavy into Lil B. Shout out to the bass god, fucking this when he was like coming up, like, and I was a huge fan of Vans. I got my Vans, and I loved the Pack. And when I found out that Lil B was in the Pack after I rediscovered Lil B, Vans came out when I was way younger. And then when I rediscovered Lil B in high school, figured out that he was a part of the Pack who made that Vans track. I was like, yo, Lil B. And we always knew he was like the earliest meme rapper, like fucking before memes were a thing. And but I fucked with him anyways, mainly because of his positivity. So the positivity literally came in consciously one day, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna shout out to Lil B because he put me on to like thinking about positive music.
Yeah, uplifting. It's almost like a Mac Miller type of vibe to a certain extent as well, where you're happy when you're listening to Mac Miller. 100%,
and fucking, all that shit. I literally had the conscious thought of like, yo, I want to make music for a time when people need music, like when shit's down, whether it's the rapture that occurs, God forbid, or fucking
Sodom and Gomorrah, right? It's the end of the world.
Or people having a bad day or whatever, boil it down to something as easy as that. Like, I wanted my music to provide value to people, and I didn't even know that at the time, but I knew that I wanted like the positivity to be a big factor. But how I got into it, dude, SoundCloud. Shout out to SoundCloud. Big fucking shout out to SoundCloud. Everybody's bagging on SoundCloud. You're tripping, and SoundCloud is still out there. I started getting most of my production from producers on SoundCloud, and it was all foreign. Like, my biggest record out now on Spotify is called Love More, and the producer, was just a kid on SoundCloud, and I found a beat, and I was like, yo, this is dope. Shot him a DM, and like, he got back to me, and we did the record, and it's my biggest record out, on Spotify at least. And I met a bunch of producer friends. My buddy Gold Digger, who I met through a friend of a friend, a kid I went to high school with, ended up being the dorm roommate in college in New York, with this guy Gold Digger, who I ended up starting a business with, and he's half of my band, and we made countless records. He produced a bunch of my earlier mixtapes, and I have a new single coming out July 31st called Head Straight. It's the another reintroduction into like this more indie alternative sound that I have, that I'm really passionate about. Live instrumentation. My dad was in bands growing up, so I'm really into live instrumentation. Play a little bit of the guitar myself, but like, he fucking helped me. We created this sound. We were like, yo, fuck this. We've been doing hip hop so long, like, we feel like there's more to it, and it was just the more into the music, more instruments, more, keep falling in love with music. So, but also just to continue the question, I just want to nail it. I know I'm talking a lot, but Browning, he's my videographer, Trevor Browning. He has a brand now called Cause Traffic on Instagram. He does cover art directing.
Yeah, and I'd love to talk to him as well.
Yeah, bro, he's a super cool guy. I talk with him still, on business stuff, and always giving tips and pointers and stuff. And I love just building with people. But yeah, he's been my videos from the jump. And I still keep him with me. He lives in like LA, so we haven't been flying back and forth. But I just got done shooting a video for my song Mangoes last weekend, and I just hired somebody to shoot it, and then I send it all to him, and he edits it. And then recently, to handle the management stuff, I've had my buddy Scott. He's this guy that reached out. Crazy fucking story. He saw me at a live show in Miami, this thing called like 710 Dab Day. Like literally 710 Dab Day, the fucking holiday where everybody's fucking dabbing out.
Oh,
and it was
a little pot entertainment action. We'll talk about that soon as well.
Exactly, a little pot entertainment action. And dude, anyways, like the couple songs on this show, and it was a big like cannabis festival, and I ended up doing a song, and then there was a bunch of people performing. They were fucking with it. It was cool. And then like 3 years later, I get a DM from this guy like, "Yo, I was at this show. Like, I love what you're doing. Like, I'd love to help out." I was like, "Oh, like, took you 3 years to reach out." He's like, "Yeah, I've been following you or whatever." Anyways, he lived in Chicago. He ended up moving here. He's my roommate now, and he's like my manager, pseudo manager. Put him in a position where he's like, "Yo, I want to help." Started with like moving graphics at first for my songs, But then, he's into more. So I've been trying to put him in like a managerial position because to scale this, an instant hand, here or there, and that's why I outsource cover arts, outsource video. A lot of the times I outsource the production, but I handle it myself. I outsource the recording, the mixing, the mastering. So you got to let everybody play their role, even if I like doing a lot of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we met around the time of Undefeated. That
exactly.
was the song that was the time, really tipped me off.
Yeah, bro, and that was the time when I had just got introduced to this guy, and we were, he wasn't helping me on the music creative side, but he was helping me come out with these graphics that I was promoting. Because that song was a MikeSB Monday track when I was going 20 weeks straight, just dropping a record every Monday that I would record on Sunday. Yeah. And then just drop it on Monday. But bro, Undefeated, I mixed that thing myself. It was cool. I didn't know much, but I had watched a couple YouTube videos. That's when I was recording it from the crib.
Now looking at it, it's got about 42,000 plays on SoundCloud.
Crazy.
Killing it, man. Yeah. I'm very proud of you, man. And I'm similar to, your manager now where, we've kind of kept in contact over the past few years. Yeah. And, obviously I've worked with College Beats for a hot minute, and then now I'm kind of, moving forward. But just to ask, what are your short-term goals, things that you're working on, over the next few weeks? And then we can get into more, long-term type of vision.
Yeah. So short term, definitely. I have some big opportunities coming up, which is cool. I can't disclose it yet, but we've been getting some shit popping. But short term is just the continuity of the music release, the consistency and the original content scale. The Mangoes video is going to drop soon. As far as goals that that I'm not currently fucking within fingers reach of attaining in the short run. I kind of have like a distribution deal right now, which is chill with SoundCloud. Actually, shout out to SoundCloud. They're moving into that space, and it's not a partnership, but we have an agreement, and it's cool. It was a cool opportunity. So I'm currently distributing with SoundCloud and to all platforms, which is chill. So that was something cool. I'd like maybe like a tour with a headlining artist as a supporting act when COVID ends. That was like a short-term goal that I really wanted.
Yeah.
Somebody in my market where I could just get exposed to a shit ton of fans who are already into that shit.
Yeah, are there any specific artists that you're fucking with? Is there specific DJs that you're working with? What is your circle, other than manager,
Yeah, no, other than management, it's a lot of just homies. I literally work full time and shit, but I have I don't hang out with anybody, but when I'm kicking it, I got a bunch of artist friends, just local artist friends. My buddy Norman Perry, we're not the best of friends, but we've known each other for a minute. We did some business, and he's popping off. He's doing this thing. But we keep in touch, and I have another homie, Alex DeLeo. Both these guys verified on Instagram. Alex DeLeo, I went to high school with. He's a homie. He plays indie music, folk music, fucking crushes it. But again, like I told you, my engineer, people I record with, the people doing the cover arts, people shooting the videos. Other than that, it's just the local homies, man.
Absolutely.
I really do it all.
So where can people find you?
Dude, everywhere. Google MikeSB, or you might even want to try it MikeSB, one word, because I'm competing with Nike in the SEO, but I beat them, I think, when I'm together. Watch, I'm going to Google it right now. I'm on Spotify, MikeSB, Apple Music, Pandora, Deezer. I think I get paid more if you click Tidal, so Tidal. Other than that, man, I'm everywhere. YouTube, Crab Cakes out now, and MikeSB, Crab Cakes. Check out Pot Entertainment.
Beautiful. Do you want to talk about Pot Entertainment a little bit?
Yeah, let me tell you what it is. It's something that I love so much, but I don't put any time into. So that's the preface. But no, it's an amazing brand. It's like the collective. Eventually, the record label. It's the house for the music, and it actually is the record label. If you look at the song credits on these platforms, Pot ENT, Potent Entertainment, Pot Entertainment.
Yeah, I love the logo.
It's just a couple young kids in high school. Some of the kids that I still kick it with. One of my good homies, Joe, is my partner, and we started recording with a sock on a mic at his crib. It's a collective of kids who are just influenced by skateboarding culture, hip hop culture, cannabis culture and the streetwear culture, and we were like, yo, let's just smash this shit into a brand and call it something super dope. And it ended up being what it is, which is cool. But man, it's such, like, you see all I'm talking about, MikeSB, it's like, bro, that takes so much time. I have to like remember what I was going to tell you, but to do all these things I'm talking about. And then, so like, it's hard to get time to do, both or more things. I'm in school right now. I work full time. But I think the beauty of it is what I talked about earlier with like delegating responsibility and shit. So I'm still coming up with a sustainable business model for Pod Entertainment. Got to turn it into something that's profitable now. And I'm loving the streetwear stuff. It's capital intensive, and you got to have a good team for design and, churning out, fucking ideas all the time. So I'm the idea. I got all the ideas. I just need to find
the execution. So absolutely. And
yeah, because if I knew Photoshop proficiently, I'd be a beast, because I got the ideas.
Well, here's the first tip. You want to use Adobe Illustrator with vector images, because Photoshop's more for photography. Adobe Illustrator is for logos, and it gives you vector designs. And what I want to do is, ask everybody, if you haven't already, please subscribe. And we will also have all of MikeSB's goodies down in the description below. So I just want to thank you for coming through, man. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, man, what you been working on? I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, I've been building out a 3,600 square foot building that
you showed me. You got the green screen.
Absolutely, it's coming along, and it'll have a cyclorama soon. And it's just been a big process, and working with different actors, and I'm kind of pivoting a little bit into other genres. And I always considered myself a consultant to the industry, not in the industry, right? And so, because my partner at the time was, with College Beats, was the music guy, and for me, I don't really put limits on what I can do. So I'm dipping my feet in the water with a couple models and actors. William C. Ingram, big shout out to William. He has a couple movies with Amazon coming out, as well as a previous project that he worked, Point Blank, that's on Netflix. So he's one of the main individuals that I'm working with right now. But as far as locally, it's tough, due to the virus. I'm a little bit hesitant, because my dad has diabetes, and, so I'm kind of, being a little bit careful, seeing, how things go and keeping it audio based. But, more long term, I'm thinking animation, with the green screen. I have, Cal Scrooby and Steve Cannon and a handful of different artists, and Season, who was signed, by RIP Juice World, is just a handful of artists that we're working with. But I'm more taking the behind the scenes kind of role, that I've got to kind of look at myself, as you do too, that it's tough for you because you got to focus on your music. It's tough for you to focus on the business, and that having people around you. And, for me, I'm in a similar situation where, I'm 45 minutes outside of the city. There really aren't a lot of people in my area, right? So it's like, yeah, sure, I've got a 3,600 square foot building, but it's in the middle of nowhere in Ohio, so, but at the same time, if I had a 3,600 square foot building in New York or LA, then that would be millions of dollars, and I could have never afforded that. And what's dope about the place is I own it, right? So no matter what we want to do, we can do it. And I think that's really my competitive advantage compared to the other studios in the city. And also, widely, most people are renting, whereas what comes with ownership is you can really do whatever you want with the building. So, we put, a pretty good amount of soundproofing, but the echo is a pretty big challenge. So that's the only part that we're a little bit, but with music videos, you're not recording audio. So exactly. So I'm not too stressed out about it. But that's definitely going to be a challenge. But other than that, my partner did not believe that he could include me because I don't know if we spoke about this, but he pivoted to DJs, right? And in communications with the college bars, he did not believe that I could be included in those packages. So you obviously know how that makes me feel, after developing the company after 3 years. So I've basically left College Beats. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm kind of, picking up the pieces where I would have never been in the hip hop industry if it wasn't for College Beats, right? So in his mind, I think, he thought that I had interest in video production and YouTube. And, sure, I'm good at it, but I would have much rather, focused on something that wasn't going to use me up and then hang me out to dry, but it is what it is. So, I'm taking what I've learned and moving forward because at the end of the day, the most valuable thing is time, and so that's really what I'm doing, just going out on my own and, taking what I've learned and, obviously the video production editing aspect and, just working with other artists and reaching out and
you're crushing it.
Absolutely, so I appreciate you coming on. If you could please tell everybody again where they can find you.
Yeah, man, just Google MikeSB, Mikey like Nike, MIKE space SB, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, all that, man. Tony, it's a blessing. I really appreciate the opportunity, bro.
Beautiful. We'll talk soon, sir. We'll do this again.
Yes, sir. Let me know, man.
All right, we'll see you.
All right, stay safe, bro. Peace.